This is Campus News, reporting the top stories from colleges and universities.
Next on Campus News. Local dancers pop it and lock it as they hip-hop for hope.
Bison fashionistas are strutting their stuff down the runway.
Some middle school girls are using boxes to reinvent a popular app.
My country is dying. My people, they are suffering.
But first, see how students at MSUM are reacting to the devastating earthquake in Nepal. Thank you for joining us and welcome to Campus News. I'm Ariana Babcock.
And I'm Jordan Schreier. A 7.9 magnitude earthquake rocked the country of Nepal, destroying homes and families.
Reporter Nick Broadway tells us how a disaster on the other side of the world is affecting students in the Red River Valley.
This is only a fraction of the devastation experienced in Nepal right now.
My country is dying. My people, they are suffering.
The death toll is rising to the tens of thousands, with even more injured or reported missing. People are getting crushed beneath collapsing debris. For every 10,000 people affected, there are only 2.1 physicians who can take care of them. MSUM has more Nepali international students than almost every college in the U.S., so it's no doubt the earthquake is affecting people here.
My parents, they all are sleeping on the street.
Not happening to connect to my family for a couple of days. It was really hard. I couldn't sleep. I was always thinking about them.
People are posting pictures of dead person, how babies are dying, how old people are dying.
But after I heard my parents were safe and all the people around were safe, that brought a little, little hope.
Students say there is no time to wait on help from Nepal's politicians.
Other foreign countries, they were helping my country, but the politicians, our leader, they were not there. None of them were there.
I think right now what they need is resources. People are trying to send old clothes. Nobody has time to wear clothes out there right now. Old clothes, new clothes. I mean, right now the basic needs: food, water, and shelter.
With finals coming up, MSUM President Ann Blackhurst emailed the school asking faculty to be as flexible as possible with due dates for Nepali students. Students and faculty are holding on-campus events throughout next week to bring awareness, donations, and hope to their country. Nick Broadway, Campus News.
MSUM has over 70 international students from Nepal. These students are banding together to send aid to their home country. They're hoping to make a difference through selling traditional items and taking donations to help victims of the earthquake. $1 US is equivalent to 100 rupees and can support a person for 3 days.
The main thing what we can do is raise fund and get the fund to the right people or the right organization back home so they can utilize the money in a proper possible way.
A suggested organization to donate through is the Red Cross. You can donate by going to redcross.org. Students at Concordia are getting ready for summer vacation and saying goodbye to the university for a few months.
And for some faculty, this will be their last goodbye as Concordia is cutting multiple positions to balance the budget. I met with students and a university official to learn more about the budget problems. For months, Concordia College has been taking a tough look at its budget to deal with low enrollment.
I think overall it's pretty disappointing.
The university is eliminating 31 positions with no specific department targeted. Most are from early retirements and cutting unfilled positions, but 10 full-time faculty are being laid off.
I personally knew one of the teachers that was cut. She was very gracious towards the school anyways and said that if she had the opportunity to come back that she would.
While some people are losing their jobs, the administration isn't saying the $4.4 million shortfall is a major problem.
There's not a real budget crisis here that's going on. This is just a natural order of doing business.
But to avoid millions of dollars in a budget deficit, students will pay more money as tuition will increase 3.8% next fall to around $35 grand.
How is that going to improve enrollment later on?
And administration officials are denying the link between the budget problems and the tuition increases.
This, tuition hike had nothing to do with our current circumstances, but rather a natural progression of where we were in terms of our tuition and fees.
These steps will allow Concordia to balance the books and ease the millions of dollars needed to keep the university out of the red.
We feel very good about where we're at and the exercise we did to make sure we're in the right spot moving into 15-16.
That's a spot with increased tuition and fewer faculty. The university's endowment fund is hitting record levels at $110 million.
Police say an MSUM student has admitted to dealing marijuana on campus after a search of his room turned up drugs and cash. Court documents show police searched the on-campus room of 19-year-old Nathan Patrick Hawley on December 15th. They found 4 grams of marijuana, a container of marijuana oil, and some paraphernalia. Hawley told police he got the drugs from his hometown and sold them on campus. He faces 2 felonies, 1 count of 5th-degree sale of marijuana and 1 count of 5th-degree possession of a controlled substance. Prosecutors also charged him with 1 petty misdemeanor count of possession of drug paraphernalia. Hawley's first court appearance is set for May 14th.
Many students in MSUM's political science department are used to hearing one professor's booming voice across the hallway, even if they aren't in his class.
Reporter Onizio Hikari joins us in the studio today to tell us how this professor is still having an impact on his students, but only for a little while. Ariana and Jordan, one MSUM professor, worked in the United Nations and taught in schools across Ukraine and England before working at the university. He now uses that experience to take his students on a journey around the world while still sitting in their desks. I met with this professor to find out why this year is very significant to him.
So consequently,
as Professor Conte lectures his students with a passion evident in his voice,
are you following events in South Africa?
One can easily tell he isn't your average professor.
He gets everybody involved in the classroom. He always does that, and it's kind of hard not to come to class without knowing anything, because he's gonna ask you questions. It's gonna be a surprise. He's gonna be like, oh, what do you think?
Originally from Sierra Leone, Dr. Conte's career as a professor in MSUM's political science department began a while back.
This is my 30th year here.
For 30 years, 30 generations of students listened and learned from one man whose teaching and work experience circled the world. But this year, things seem to be changing as he starts to make his retirement plans.
It's gonna be hard.
Knowing how hard his absence will be on his students, Dr. Conte arranged to do things a little differently.
I decided to be on phased retirement primarily because I do not want to put my students in a situation whereby they will be left on their own.
This phased retirement means he will continue to work part-time as a professor and advisor until the last batch of students he taught graduates.
This outflow of people.
Conte's retirement leaves his students with mixed feelings.
He has this amazing resume and seems to have a really fulfilled career, so I'm happy for him that he can finally retire and take a break. I'm personally and selfishly a little disappointed because I'd like to take more classes from him.
But for him, the story doesn't end here.
Retirement does not mean that I'm going to abandon learning. It just means a change of pace.
As part of his post-retirement plans, Dr. Conte says he may volunteer as a teacher with the Peace Corps.
Thanks, Onize. MSUM students crafted a campaign called Home Matters to raise awareness about affordable housing. 3 students from MSUM earned honorable mentions for their work on Home Matters. They also went the extra mile and took their campaign to the Dorothy Day House of Hospitality, an organization that helps the hungry and homeless in Fargo Moorhead.
By working with local organizations such as the Dorothy Day House, FM Coalition for the Homeless, we primarily worked with FM Sheltering Churches. By working with those organizations and getting them involved with Home Matters, we hope that they will continue the message about Home Matters in the community even long after the campaign is over.
60 teams submitted entries for Home Matters, and the finalists that advance will meet in Chicago on May 8th. The NDSU Hip Hop team has moves like Jagger as they dance to their own beat.
Reporter Haley Foster joins us in studio to tell us more about how students are getting down.
That's right, Ariana and Jordan. I met up with the president of the hip hop team who hopes her moves can inspire actions in others. NDSU's hip hop team is all about that bass this year with their 3rd annual Hip Hop for Hope fundraiser.
Each member would write down a charity organization, and then we'll just pass it around, and then everybody will vote on which organization to donate to.
This year's proceeds will go to Unseen Ministries, a nonprofit organization fighting to end human trafficking, world hunger, and poverty. Tran says on top of raising awareness to these worldwide issues, she also wanted to draw attention to a new culture in the area.
What I was trying to do with that show is to exploit like local rappers, local singers, local dancers, trying to get the local community out instead of like paying people to come here, perform. So everybody did they volunteered, and it was really nice.
In 7th grade, her passion for hip-hop started to boom.
I've always been a hip-hop dancer. I wish I got a chance to do ballet and stuff, but no. And also, I actually didn't take classes at all, so I kind of learned it off of YouTube.
A passion she tries to pass on every week at practice.
I believe that everyone is a dancer, inside, even if you're in the grocery store dancing, kind of this type of movement, it's still dancing, so I do try to give everyone a chance.
A powerful culture of beats and bass, Tran hopes will take the Fargo Moorhead area by storm. Tran says anyone is welcome to join the team as long as they are a tri-college student in the Fargo Moorhead area.
Thanks, Haley. Audience members were in for a surprise when they sat down to view NDSU's production of Lysistrata.
What rider to the treaty did you decide on today at the assembly? That's not your affair, shut up!
The ancient Greek play about the battle of the sexes was transformed into something modern and provocative. The play tells the story of Greek women who withhold sex from their husbands in order to force negotiations for peace. But this modern retelling drops the concept of gender for a more modern touch. Chelsea Pace, a new professor in NDSU's theater department, created the adaptation. With her new age interpretation, she hopes to get people from the area out of their shells and watch something different.
I think it's going to be really well received. I don't think it's the kind of thing that people are used to seeing, and it's certainly not what anyone's expecting when they come to see a production of Lysistrata.
By removing the gender roles present in the original script, Chelsea is looking to break down preconceived notions of gender and sexual preference. Learning in the classroom can be beneficial but also boring for children.
One program at NDSU looks to change that by getting kids hands-on with engineering. Reporter Andy Weston shows us how learning can take flight.
4th and 5th graders piled into a computer lab at NDSU to hone their engineering skills at the Tech Girls program. While the games designed to teach coding were fun and informative, it was the outdoor activities that had the girls excited.
Go, go, go! They have more people!
Jordan Johnson, an engineering major at NDSU, believes the program helps young girls get involved in the world of engineering through a hands-on approach.
So every week we try to do some kind of activity that relates to one kind of engineering. So for civil engineering, we'll build structures out of spaghetti and marshmallows. And for mechanical engineering, we build robots. And for electrical and computer engineering, we have them write code.
In order to teach students about force and velocity, Johnson devised a game of real-life Angry Birds. Journeying to the sunny campus grounds, participants were tasked with building their structures out of cardboard boxes. Empty water bottles were used in place of the green pigs from the popular game. Hadley Haglund, one of the future engineers in the program, found the game to be a lot of fun.
The catapult stuff.
Yeah.
I don't usually get to do that. That was really fun.
Hadley's mother, Jocelyn, finds the program beneficial in helping girls find their place in the engineering field.
That she can learn just as much, be just as smart, and do the same things that all the boys are doing.
After putting their lessons into practice, everyone gathered back into the Family Learning Center, where awards were handed out for the hard work and participation put in. At the end of the experience, students and parents alike discovered that they learned a lot and have a new interest in engineering. Andy Weston, Campus News.
Tech Girls is a student-led program for 3rd through 7th grade girls.
The NDSU women's air pistol team shoots high as they take home the 2015 National Pistol Championship. They came back winners from Fort Benning, Georgia. At the competition, these ladies lined up next to their competitors to shoot a 40-shot match, which they are required to shoot one-handed. With the pressure to do well, the shooters have to be mentally focused and prepared. Some say they have been waiting for a shot at this award all year.
For me, it was amazing. Our team has never won a national championship. We were really close my freshman year winning the open team, and And then last year we came really close to winning. And then this year we finally won, and it was amazing.
The team practices year-round with hopes of beating Ohio State.
While some students can barely commit to what Netflix series they will binge on next, some students are committing to each other for better or worse.
Sarah Erickson visited with a married couple that goes to MSUM and found out some advantages to getting hitched.
I love her to death, and I wanted to get married.
Although the marriage rates in young adults are going down, there are still young adults who are married like these two. The Oberts both attend MSUM and have been married for almost 2 years now. They got married when they were just 18 years old and have a child named Casey, and they say they wouldn't change a thing.
It's a cool thing to be able to grow old with somebody that you love and have it be from such an early point in your life that it's like you have so many stories and you have so much.
Being married for these two have its advantages. They have received more financial help from the government.
Neither Taylor or I have had to pay for any schooling.
Not only have they received help, but knowing that their relationship is secure, they say it helps them get through school.
It makes you a little bit more focused on school because they're not like, oh my God, my girlfriend isn't calling me, or oh, what, I saw her with that guy, or whatever, you know. And it just, having a secure relationship really makes you able to focus on school a lot better.
But for some students, they say they just don't have the money to date, or they are waiting for the right person.
The guys pay for everything, and I don't have the money to pay for that. And I want to find somebody who actually means a lot to me before I start committing myself completely to them.
In the United States, there has been a dramatic decline of marriages among young adults. Today, just 20% of adults ages 18 to 29 are married, compared to 59% in 1960.
I've actually experienced a lot of negative feedback when I'm like, yeah, I'm married and have a kid. I remember one girl was like, you know, marriage really doesn't work anymore in this day and age. I'm like, oh, cool. I didn't ask her for your opinion.
Marriages in young adults are becoming a rare sight, but the Oberts are proud to say they married young. With photographer Darby Fike, Sarah Erickson, Campus News.
Pat and Taylor will be graduating in a couple of weeks. And now we turn it over to Shaylee Meyer for a look at this week's sports.
Shaylee, MSUM unveiled the design of its new football field, and my face wasn't in the end zone.
I know, I'm sorry about that, Jordan. The Dragons broke ground on Shields Field, which players say is making the wait for fall football that much harder. Turner Bloffice takes us to the Dragons spring game, where the MSUM crowd said goodbye to the old field and hello to artificial turf.
The annual MSUM spring game saw the defense in their gray uniforms lock down the offense in a 60-17 win. And the excitement for the new turf is through the roof.
They talk about it all the time. I think, trying to figure out what color it's going to be, what the design's going to be, certainly that's captured their attention.
The players had made several suggestions for field designs on the artificial turf. MSUM linebacker Aaron Bull had a few ideas that didn't make it far into the discussion.
I heard the one with my face on it got shot down, but I'm hoping for the one that's alternate green, and this is Dragons in the middle field. I mean, I've heard about 30 different designs, so I'm finally excited to see what it's going to finally look like.
The new field won't have Bull's face on the 50, but the team is happy with the classic turf design. The players are excited about their new field, but the anxious Dragons are even more excited to show what they're capable of on it.
Just reaching our full potential, We've always been a little bit short, and this year, if we just reach our full potential, it'll be good.
The Dragons boast an experienced roster with a large senior class. The incoming seniors are hoping their new field will be just one of the final touches on their football careers.
After every year, it's always like, oh, you still got one more year, and now this is your last year. After this year, you don't have one more, so it's kind of all or nothing right now.
With photographer Meg Keim, Turner Bloffice, Campus News Sports.
1, 2, 3, right! The first game on Shields Field is set for September 3rd against Winona State. Kickoff is set for 6 p.m. It will also be the first home game under the lights in Dragon history. The MSUM Lady Hummers have done it again. The women's rugby team has qualified for nationals for the third time in the last year. After finishing in third place at the 2014 NSCRO National Championships last fall, they will be traveling back to the East Coast for the National Sevens Championship. They were invited last spring but were unable to go due to finances. Now they are finally able to go and show what they are made of.
It gives me that drive
to just like perform well and do well for the team and everything. And especially with us going to nationals, it's a big deal. So it's like nerve-wracking, but I'm like super excited to just be back out on the like field with the team.
The Hummers 15s team is ranked 2nd nationally. The Sevens tournament starts today and goes through Sunday in West Point, New York. Training for a marathon isn't something most people look forward to when waking up in the morning. Haley Warnicki reports how 2 MSUM students are getting in shape for the Fargo Marathon as they run together to make it to the starting line.
It is a cold Wednesday morning. At 7 o'clock, most people are still in bed or just getting ready for the day. For 2 MSUM students, they are finishing their morning stretches to begin their Fargo Marathon training.
It's always easy to say, you know, I'm gonna get up and go run, but when your alarm goes off, it's kind of easy just to hit the snooze. But if there's people waiting for you and there's people keeping you accountable, that's kind of what I wanted.
When Jessie brought up the Wednesday morning sessions, she says she thought more people would show up. Only 1 other student came.
This is 2 more people than what MSUM Running Club has ever had. So we'll just keep building and building and building.
Next year, hopefully more people will come and it'll just keep growing and growing as the years go by.
Running isn't just a goal for Jessie and Justine. It is also a way to let off some steam.
It's my therapy. It's my stress reliever. It's something that you can always do on your own and just keep increasing your goals.
Keeps me in shape. It honestly just like keeps me like calm. If I'm stressed, that's what I do.
Every Wednesday morning, they motivate each other to accomplish a goal they set months ago, to cross the finish line at the Fargo Marathon. With photographer Louis Johnson, Haley Warnicki, Campus News Sports.
The Fargo Marathon is Saturday, May 9th. Both Jessie and Justine will be running the half marathon. While some students are ready to take a break for the summer, Bison football players are getting ready for another season. NDSU lined up to get their championship rings and kick off the season at the Green and Gold Spring Game. The offense and defense went head-to-head, showcasing their talent and battling for starting spots. Starting quarterback Carson Wentz led the team on a 65-yard scoring drive in his only action of the game. The offense scored on 6 of 9 drives on the way to a 61-12 win over the defense. NDSU will kick off the 2015 season in Montana on Saturday, August 29th in the FCS kickoff on ESPN. As the school year comes to a close, MSUM held its annual Red and White celebration to relive the past year in athletics and recognize some key members of the athletic department. Reporter Thor Thompson shows us what has the Dragons fired up.
The 2014-15 year was a big one for MSUM, with the men's basketball team's run to the Elite Eight and groundbreaking for the new Shields Field. The Dragons had plenty to applaud at the annual Dragon Red and White celebration. The event honored coaches and staff, but the main draw was the unveiling of the new Shields Field. To MSUM President Ann Blackhurst, the $1 million donation from Shields was about much more than just renovating the football field.
It was just a really important signal to the community that we were serious about putting our resources into our athletic programs and doing what was necessary to make them successful. And also a really important message that the community would be willing to invest in us.
Even after the football season was done, there was more excitement and momentum to come. The men's basketball team made an unprecedented run to the Elite Eight, and that national exposure brought a spark to the Dragon fire.
My word, the last month we were all over the paper and TV and radio stations, and that was pretty wonderful. And just the following, and it seemed to, a lot of people got excited about it, got on the bandwagon, really appreciated what they did.
Not only did the basketball team energize the city of Moorhead, it also showed the role athletics could play in promoting the university.
They're not our central reason for existing, but they can help elevate our reputation and our visibility in a way that helps everyone, including our academic programs.
The athletic success and partnerships with local businesses have brought a newfound swagger to MSUM, and many around the area are taking notice.
Now, it's pretty trendy to be a Dragon fan around town, it seems, and on campus, so I think that's great.
With photographer Tommy Thompson, Thor Thompson, Campus News Sports.
Shields Field will feature artificial turf and will be ready for the Dragons' home opener on September 3rd.
Shaylee, I bet they just can't wait to step on some new turf.
I know, I'm sure it'll be nice not to be running in mud every time they have to practice or play a game.
Thanks, Shaylee. Students finally got their time in the spotlight as their original designs hit the runway for NDSU's Fargo Fashion Week.
Sarah Erickson saw firsthand the work it takes to strut your stuff down the catwalk.
Without further ado, we bring you Fargo Fashion Week. Enjoy!
Lights shine while student models strut their stuff to the beat of the music down the runway to kick off Fashion, Apparel, and Business Organization's 14th annual fashion show. The organization, known as FABO, is a student-run program that talks to local retailers, designers, and makeup artists on how they can make it as business owners. This is NDSU senior Amber Zalondek's third year helping with the fashion show, and this year she is organizing it.
Initially, to become a fashion coordinator, they would ask that you come up with a theme or something inspirational for us to base the fashion show off of. So I had pitched the idea of Fargo Fashion Week.
With that idea, the fashion show came alive. Student designers created their own apparel and even hit the runway themselves.
I found a basic button-up design and then just kind of picked the patterns and the colors as I saw fit.
With all the hard work that was put into the show, students were thrilled with the turnout.
I think it went fabulously, no pun intended.
It's really nice to see that people show up and they actually are interested in what you're putting together.
But this year, Amber is graduating.
It's, you know, it's happy and sad at the same time. You know, while I'm thinking, oh my gosh, we're done, I'm also thinking, wow, we're done.
But she says just because she is leaving, it won't stop her from sitting in the chairs at next year's show.
Well, thank you everyone for coming out to Fargo Fashion Week.
With photographer Darby Fike, Sarah Erickson, Campus News.
Money raised at the fashion show went to the Fraser House, an organization helping children and adults reach independence. And that's our last edition of Campus News this year.
We leave you with another look at Hip Hop for Hope.
Thanks for joining us, and we hope to see you again next year.
Campus News is produced by the Television News Workshop in the School of Communication and Journalism at Minnesota State University Moorhead in cooperation with Prairie Public Television.